How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Bill, and in today's video I'm going to fix the wrap on these pillars. Now I don't want to show too close because I may have already done that wrap, but first time I did that, it was pretty cold out. I did it just to see how it would look, to see if I would like it, see if I'd be able to wrap it, and it came out fairly decent for the first time ever doing it, but it was not, it did not look good up close. It looked good from afar, but not too good if you got up close to it. It had a few problem areas, mainly around these seams where it was just poking out and busting out. So I pulled the old wrap off and gave it another shot. So let's see how it turns out. So yeah, all this stuff was really brittle. It was way too cold when I put it on. I'm definitely gonna have to be redone. Beneath this rail, I actually taken this rail off and went back behind it. So I'm gonna take that back off to get all this off of there. So yeah, I mean, it comes off fairly easy. I just took the door off. I'm going to take this bit of trim here off. For the door jamb here, this weather stripping just pulls right out. And you pull that out of the way. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 T, it looks like T15s in there, and then 2 little plastic clips. So I'm going to undo the T15s first, and then those plastic clips should just pop out. So that channel just pulled right off. It's got a bit of weather stripping on there. And you see there's a little bit of leftover wrap from first time I did this. And you can also see I cut way too deep when I was trying to remove this and actually cut into the paint. So yes, you have to be careful if you're going to cut on. So if you're going to cut on the paint, you have to be very, very careful. That's why you'll see people use knifeless tape for stuff like this. So you're not actually cutting into any paint. Now for this, I'm just going to remove the antenna. That comes off, and then I just undo these bolts and everything. I want to pop the actual mirror off, just get everything out of my way over here. If you didn't have this lighting bracket on there, you'd still have these 2 same bolts. They'd just be right there in the cowl. Now this whole cowl over here will pop up. Run that over there, get it out of our way. And then this mirror cowl will also just pop right off. There it goes. That will pop off right over there. So that leaves these 4 bolts right here, which I believe are 8mm maybe? We'll see. And these are a lot longer than you would think they would be. Then the whole mirror just pop off. Rag here. So again, some more wrap from my first time doing this, tucked it in there. But yeah, I want to go ahead, clean this all up really good. I'll probably take the top off too. you can access everything there with the top on. The top doesn't cover anything, but just so I have room to look around from up top and work, I'll probably go ahead and take the top off. These just, you know, there's like a little button up to the top. You can push that in and then just plops off. And then it's two 10mm bolts holding that on underneath. So I'll take that off as well. Because I'm going to put the light bar back up there. So hopefully this time it goes smoothly. I could put the light bar back up there and call it good. Alright, so I wiped everything down. I put some painter's tape along the edge there because I need to go about that far out so it can tuck down and under. So I need to cut it about that far in, but I don't want it to stick to the window. So I just have some tape there so hopefully it won't stick to that. And the same up there along the top edge. I gotta cut it up a little bit further back here because this is just like a rubber seal. So I gotta cut it back a little bit further. So I gotta cut it back a little further than the seal itself and then be able to tuck that edge in there. So I don't want it to stick to this, but I want to be able to lay there. So hopefully that'll do the trick. And then I just have a piece I cut out. It's about 28 inches by 14. It's not exact. I just cut a piece that was going to be big enough, more than big enough, long enough. It's going to go up high enough. So that should be a big enough piece, hopefully. The only other thing I want to grab is, it's got a, tilted there. So I just got this heat gun, squeegee, and then I have this. It's like a soft plastic. It's got sharp edge for pushing things in, a little flat edge there for tucking things in, and then some fresh razors and a small razor. I've got a fresh razor. We should be good to go. I'm just going to set this in there. And that's how it should fit in there. So I'm just going to start peeling the back off. In there like so. So yeah, this corner it's nice and easy because it's smooth. And pull everything tight. And pull. Coming off of that corner now. Like, you see, like that front edge, that's where the edge, I don't know how well the camera picks it up, but that's the front edge right there. That's nice. Now that we're coming around here and getting to this edge though, getting some spots where it's starting to bunch up a little bit, which we don't want. So gotta stretch that out a bit. Now I will say, the first time I tried to do this, it was about 40 degrees out here in the garage. And this stuff was very frigid and brittle feeling. I couldn't do anything without hitting it with the heat gun. So far, this is much, much easier to work with. It's about 60 degrees out here now. So having a decent temperature makes a huge difference. Yeah, in this front edge, there we're golden. As long as we can get it tucked in and behind the glass, that's gonna look awesome. Problem is, okay, that looks good. Alright, so far, this is the solid piece here, and we're looking good. There to the edge, looks good. We're starting to get some tension there, but once we cut some of this away, I think we'll be good. Now the trouble area is this here, getting all these wrinkles out. So this area is where I struggle with, trying to keep it smooth, get rid of the wrinkles. I think that just needs to get stretched. So, like I said, I am not a professional at this at all, so anybody have any tips for making this go smoother, I am all ears. I think I'm going to have to hit that with a little heat now. It does not take much heat for this either. Thought it was good, but then I pulled it a little too far up. Yeah. I don't know if I could. Hey, got some little bubbles in there, and I guess it comes with experience, knowing which ones you can push out and which ones you can't, because last time when I did this, like some of those, if there was a line there and you try getting it out, it would close it up and then it would make a crease, and then it would be pretty much have to just start over. Or if you got lucky, you could heat it up. I could heat it up and get the line out of there a little bit, but this seems that we're doing okay. Now the problem is, can't really see what's going on behind here. So here, I'm going to go ahead and make a relief cut. Like I said, I want to cut this a little further back than the crease. I'm going to cut some of this off. All right, so now hopefully I can push. I don't know, I might not have cut enough. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to cut a little bit more there. It's not quite enough to be able to shove in there. It's a pretty tight spot. All right. All right, that's actually looking fairly decent. Now the next problem area is right here. This is a really hard piece and it's not got much give. So to trim around that is going to be a little tricky. And this is where it starts to not look good. I was doing pretty good. I did pretty good along that top edge. There's one little crease there, but then I cut a little too far back there. So now you can see some yellow poking through, and trying to stretch it out and move it around and just making it worse. So unfortunately, this turned out better than the first attempt, but not quite good enough. So back to the drawing board, going to try that again. The second time I tried to just do the top first, and I was going to smooth the rest out later. That didn't work out so well. So I was much closer when I got this, laid this flat first and then worked on this area than trying to work this area and then get this. So we're gonna go back to the first method that I did of laying it flat on here and then working around here. Back where we were again. Got this all looking pretty good, smoothed out. So getting to this point, I'm okay with. It's getting these cuts and tucks right up along this corner that are giving me a hard time. All right, so I think we got that corner done. So I'm gonna cut down here, get this tucked. All right, so I think we're good on that corner this time. Now I do have to, I'll cut this, trim this back just a smidge to uncover the holes. So I'll trim that back. I got a couple small fingers under there, but that's all gonna be hidden underneath that trim piece. Let's go through, make sure everything's pushed down as good as possible. Now, gotta try to get this pushed in. That's why I don't want it to stick to the glass, so that's why I have the tape so I can push it in, because I want to push it up against, make sure it's sticking on the inside edge of this. Then we also got to make sure it's going and covering all the yellow painted surface under there. So it's this outside edge and then sticking it down there and then pushing it out to the edge of the glass, or the seam of the glass. Now the tricky part for this is going to be right in here. I'll heat that up and see if it'll push. I might have to do like a little relief cut there. We'll see. All right, I think we got it that time. Now I gotta come along and trim under here. Yeah, well, the front part gets covered by the mirror, the bottom part gets covered with the door, so with the door open or the door off, you would be able to see that. So I'm gonna pull this down and just do a straight cut across there. My battery died on me as I was cutting, so I just continued cutting, but kind of try to make a flat line across the bottom here, clean up these edges a bit. So now we put the trim in, this edge with it tucked up underneath there. There's no lines, there's no seams, you can't see anything. It's perfectly good. Here, it tucks back underneath and under the glass and is covering any of the yellow paint. So now I see why people say that black cars are the easiest to wrap, because this yellow, if you miss a spot, it shines through like very easily. So this, I'm just going to trim back this. I want to make sure that we are nice and smooth along this side, and then trim the rest of that back. And then this will get covered with the rest of the bodyguard mount for the light. So that whole thing doesn't have to be covered, but just as long as the edges and everything are covered. So I'll trim that back, and then we'll do the other side. With this side, we can put back together, clean up our mess. All right, so everything buttoned back up over here. I'm gonna call this one a success. I think that turned out pretty damn good. So, like I said, I'm definitely not a professional at this. I don't know how much of that was just luck, or maybe somebody will look at it and say, hey, that looks like trash, and will point out what's wrong with it for me. But yeah, if you do your own wraps, gotten a wrap, know anything about wrapping, let me know how I did. I think it turned out pretty damn good. Now it's got to do the same thing on this side. I mean, it's just going to be rinsing and repeating of everything's going to be exactly the same. I'm going to take the door off, take the light and the mirror off, tape everything up, and hopefully we can get this on our first try on this side. Since, you know, it took us third time was a charm on that side. Hopefully I'm on a winning streak and I can get this side done on the first attempt, but we'll see. And we'll work on getting the light bar put back on there. All right, so we got everything back together, got that side done. And no, I didn't get it on the first try. So, took me a couple of tries on this side, but it ended up coming out pretty good, I think. The corners came out a whole lot better than they did the first time. I got the light bar back on there. But yeah, I would go ahead and wrap this video up. A couple of things to note. Like I said, if you're looking for expert guide on how to wrap something, look somewhere else. I'm not the person to do that, but if you're curious, if somebody like me that doesn't have any experience, so possibly you would be able to wrap something, yeah, it's going to take you a few tries to get it right. Watch the videos other than mine, get some tips and tricks. Two things that I found that helped me. The first one is doing it in the right environment where it's not freezing cold. Having a fairly warmer, decent temperature out here made a huge difference. And the second thing is you don't have to be gentle with this stuff. I think I was afraid of overstretch because a lot of the videos I watched, everything was like, be careful, don't overstretch anything. You could stretch it, but don't overstretch it. And I kept seeing people like stressing, don't overstretch it. So I was not stretching it enough. And I was being a little timid with it. And it's like, oh, I don't want to overstretch it. Especially with the solid color like this. I mean, if you're doing some like metallic or pattern or something, you probably got to be even more careful with stretching. But like a solid black like this, I was being way too timid and I wasn't stretching it enough. Once I kind of, got a little more comfortable with putting a little bit of muscle behind it and actually stretching it a bit, it started to work out a lot better for me. And, instead of being real timid and just kind of barely budging it or anything, actually, stretching it and pulling and pushing, it makes a huge difference. And I mean, that's what the material is made to do. And it makes a huge difference when you start, when you get a little more comfortable with it. Now, like I said, you don't want to overstretch it, but it's a lot more lenient than you think it's going to be. So I hope that gives you some ideas. If it did, and you liked the video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. If you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next time.